Hi everyone, welcome back to Easy Cooking with Linda B. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, I can't believe it. And what I want to show you today is one of the side dishes that my mom always made at Thanksgiving, and I absolutely love it. It's called creamed pearl onions, and I want to show you how to put it together. So what you'll need for the following is one 14-ounce bag of frozen pearled white onions, which I have here in this bowl. Right now they're partially thawed. And I'm going to use light cream. My mom always used half and half or milk, but I like light cream because it has a little bit more body to it. For seasoning, we're going to use paprika, nutmeg, salt and pepper, and also butter. And I'm using cornstarch instead of flour. I like cornstarch because it is gluten-free, and I'm going to make it for people that I know are gluten-free so they could eat these safely. And I'll make a slurry, and I'm going to show you what I do. So I have in this cup a little less than a quarter of a cup of water, and I'm going to pour it into my onions because what I'm going to do is put them in the microwave to cook. And since they're partially thawed, I'm only going to steam them or cook them for about 3 minutes. So once I have that finished, I'll show you the next step. Okay, now the onions are ready. I actually microwaved them for 7 minutes, kept them covered, and let them steam for 5 more minutes. The reason why I had to do that is when they're frozen, they're not completely cooked, so they're very crunchy, and we don't want the crunchiness. Right now, they're fork tender. So now what I'm going to do is work with cooking them. I have 2 tablespoons of butter, and I do have my small cast iron. Actually, this is Mom's pot. This is how she always made them. And I love this thing. It's small, it's perfect size for this. So I have this melting down. So I'm going to let that get soft. And then I'm going to put in the onions, because at this point what I want to do is get them coated with butter and let them cook a little more. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And I'm going to stir this around. I have a sweet YouTube friend. Her name is Andrea. Her YouTube channel is Cooking with Andrea. She's a lovely person in Nevada, and I know onions are not her favorite. She loves the flavor but doesn't like the texture. I'm hoping that maybe she'll give this a try and see what she thinks of it. I'd love to know. Okay, now these are cooking nicely. I have it on a very low heat. I don't want to burn them. I just want to coat them. Okay, now what I'm going to do is turn my heat to low. Then the next thing I'm going to do is add my light cream. And I'm turning this heat down low because I don't want the milk or the cream to curdle. So I'm going to put a little bit in at a time, so that the cream will come up to a good temperature and not curdle. It's like tempering, basically. Okay, that's doing good. I'm going to add some more cream. Actually, I used probably about 3/4 of a cup there. Give this a good stir. And while it's on low, I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let it cook probably for about 20 minutes. I'll check it at that point and show you what it looks like. Okay, now the onions have been cooking for about 20 minutes. And if you find that it does start to curdle a little bit, just add 1/4 cup of water. Stir that in. And at this point, you can now add a little more seasoning. So my mom always added a little bit of nutmeg. If you don't like nutmeg, that's fine, leave it out. So I'm only adding about a pinch of that. Stir this in, and at this point, cover it and let it simmer for a little bit longer until the onions are totally tender. Okay, now the onions have been cooking for an additional 10 minutes, and at this point, I'm going to add approximately a tablespoon of butter. So I do like that richness. And now what I'm going to do is make a slurry. So I have about a teaspoon of cornstarch, and I'm going to add just a little bit of light cream. Stir this well, and then I will add it into the onions. I want to make sure there's no lumps, so I'm going to stir this very well. Now that's done, I'm going to pour this into my onions because now I want them to thicken. I've added the butter for the richness. And now I'm going to also sprinkle in a little bit of paprika for color, like that. As you can see, the sauce is getting thick, luxuriously looking. It's beautiful. I think I'm going to add a little more paprika. Mix that in. Well, that's looking beautiful. Perhaps a little more pepper and a little more salt. And now stir it. Okay, so now I will cover it, turn the heat off. So the pearled onions are done, and now I'm going to sample. I'm going to just do a taste test here. They're so good. They're smooth and creamy, rich from the butter, not too heavy, excuse me. You may want to add a little salt or pepper on it before you eat it. It's just really delicious. So I hope you enjoyed watching my video on me making cream pearl onions. This was my mother's recipe. And I just want you to remember, always enjoy life and never stop learning. Bye now.